All guests on ZASLOW Show 2.0 are brought to us by the official beer of the program. You know how we're going to enjoy the NBA draft tonight with an ice cold Johnny Cuba in our hand. European roots, a Caribbean soul, a refreshing German lager in a can. Go to johnnycuba.us. You use the Johnny locator. You find the nearest location to you. Muy delicioso. Make sure you always drink responsibly. And, of course, don't forget Johnny Cuba's mantra, stay tranquilo. And joining us now, Trysta Krick, who we've been having on the show for a couple years now. Maybe you've been seeing her more if you're checking out Alley-Oop after some of those NBA Finals post-game shows on, for Metalark with Juju Gotti. You've caught Trysta Krick. Trysta, good to see you. How are you doing?
Everything's good, man. The weather's good. OKC, I think Indy was one of my favorite finals in the last 15 years.
Oh, wow. You loved it.
I loved it. I don't care about the small market. Small market's the new big market. Depth is the new, multi-star approach. I think NBA is changing, and I think what we saw was a heavyweight fight. And without Tyrese Halliburton getting injured, who knows what would have happened? So I'm so pleased with how the playoffs as a whole went.
The rating stuff is so stupid to me. Like, who sits around? If you like basketball, you like basketball. Who sits around and says, hey, what do you think about the finals? I think it's going to be pretty good, but, the ratings are probably going to be low. Like, who gives a shit?
I don't give a fuck about these casual fans that only want to see the Knicks play the Lakers every year. I don't care about you. I really...
Like, I'm not a TV executive. Why do I care about ratings?
I care about what I like.
Yeah.
I care about, it's not like when you watch a television show and you're like, man, I really hope the ratings are good so that I can get this season again, so I can get this series to continue. No, I'm going to get what I'm going to get. Sports are not going to somehow just
NBA is going to continue.
Right. It's not getting canceled next year if the ratings aren't good.
Right. But Game 7, you're always, when somebody says to you, hey, remember when the Thunder won the title against the Pacers, you're always going to remember Halliburton got hurt, right?
Absolutely. I'm gonna remember 3 straight threes, 9 points in the first quarter. Halliburton's super aggressive, and then he extends that right leg to sort of push off to drive to the basket, and I watch it with my own 2 eyes, the same way I watched in person Kevin Durant tear his Achilles live. I want to say it was in Toronto because I remember that there was a lot of scuttlebutt about how the Toronto fans handled it. Some people thought that they were cheering for it. So that was the vibe I got, just very sick to my stomach. And I think that's going to be what's connected and sort of cheapens it for the Thunder because they deserve this title.
How weird was the Thunder's celebration or lack of celebration? It really, there was hardly any of the champagne and everything after the game. It was really like it was an immature It's like they were children, they didn't know how to celebrate.
Or it was almost like the Nick Saban school of celebration, where it's like, job's not done. Job's not done. We're going to just do this again and run it back. But yeah, Jalen Williams never having a drink in his life before that. And then him just walking around with a full tequila bottle in a box. And then them showing up on Good Morning America just totally buzzed and blitzed out of their mind. I thought it was a testament to this is the second youngest team in NBA history to win a title outside of my Portland Trailblazers in 1977. It was like, these guys they don't even know what to do, right? Like they can't go out and get hookers and Molly because they don't even know what those things are.
Do you like the new NBA where, Adam Silver's been commissioner for 11 years, 8 different champions. David Stern was commissioner for 30 years, 8 different champions. Do you like this new NBA?
I think when you have a dynasty that's interesting in its own right, because we like to see sustained success and greatness. But I think having a new champion every year is also pretty interesting as well. I think it causes it's boring when there's the same champion or the same team in the finals every single year. I know that you probably don't think that way as a Florida Panthers fan. I'm sure you're happy with dynasties in the NHL. You're loving it.
I love a good dynasty.
But for everybody who's has no dog in the fight, it's nice to see really the storylines of new teams and new players ascend and fall like this wave. Like we thought that the Denver Nuggets were going to be that team, and then oh man, these players don't come back, and then these players start to age out, and then this other role player maybe isn't as effective as he was, and then you're like, oh wow, maybe Denver never even gets back to the finals again. And I think with this OKC team, I think we're going to get some dynastic qualities from them differently than Boston, because I really never thought Boston was set up for multiple years of championships just based on the fact that they rely so much on the three. And that's such a highly volatile way of going about your business that when you have a couple of off shooting nights like they did really against the New York Knicks, even though they went up by 20, teams are able to claw back so much easier when you rely on the three. So for the Thunder, who relies on not all three, all three levels of scoring, but really the mid-range and layups, I think we're going to be able to see this team be able to continue their run, also based on where they are in terms of having a bunch of these kids under team control for so long.
How crazy was Josh Kroenke mentioning trading
It's insane.
Jokic? We don't have to get to a place where we have to trade number 15. I've never heard anything like that.
I said, first of all, number 15? We're not even going to say that man's name? That was insane to me, Zaz. I honestly thought, because I've been watching a lot of stuff on X or Threads or whatever, and you're getting a lot of AI commentary on, like, you're getting Caitlin Clark being like, oh, yeah, so-and-so's a bitch. You're like, oh, this is very obviously not her, right? And I thought that was what we were getting from Josh Kroenke. I was like, no way he would have said that in a public setting, let alone at a press conference when they're talking about building their team. It's a weird situation over there.
What do you make of the moves that the Celtics made? I think they're significantly worse next year. I'm not a fan of Anthony Simons.
Good.
And, I understand the big picture where they're clearing money for later on. Okay, I get that. Drew Holiday's 35 years old. What do you make of the moves? And do you think they're done?
I think it was kind of like damned if you do, damned if you don't, because you can't be in the second apron, nerd term. Basically, if you're at that level for too long, for multiple years in a row, they'll start freezing your draft picks. And so you can't have that, especially when you're not a true contender. And given the fact that Jason Tatum is going to be out the entire year next year, you really don't want to be an expensive team for no reason. So I get that. Getting rid of Drew, I understand. Getting rid of KP, I understand, just for monetary reasons. And maybe you find a way to build organically or through trades the following year when Tatum is back, right? So fine, I get that. I don't like Anthony Simons at all. I don't think they're going to extend him. I think he's going to want 25, 30, $35 million. He's going to want in the neighborhood of what, maybe a little less than Tyler Hero is going to command. Similar sort of bucket getters in terms of like being such a sniper from deep. So I guess that was really just to get off the money. I thought it was very interesting that Brad Stevens got picks from that instead of had to pay out picks for that, to get rid of a guy who's 35 and making 30-something million dollars per year. I thought that getting George Niang was a nice little move for them. They need a guy that's tough and a little bit thicker and bigger who can come off the bench or maybe even start for you depending on what's going on and shoot threes. Yeah, I'm fascinated. Both of those players are obviously the two worst players on the roster so far in terms of contributors. Now I'm seeing, though, that Utah is trying to make an offer for Jaylen Brown. And I think at that point, you've jumped the shark. There's no deal to be made there, in my opinion, where you would get rid of him. I just think, like, that guy's your finals MVP. That guy is probably I think it's more respectful if you're going to move him to a place that actually makes sense for him and not just makes sense for you. You've got Danny Ainge, that relationship there, but I don't think Jaylen Brown wants to play in Utah. And I don't know that the amount of capital you have to give up for Jaylen Brown makes Utah any good unless you're just giving up a bunch of expirings and draft picks, which they have a lot of. So it kind of feels too early to tear it all down and just have Tatum on this team and Luke Cornett.
We all know that Cooper Flagg's going to go number 1 overall tonight. So assuming that, we're never going to understand the Luka Doncic trade, but are the Dallas Mavericks in a better position now than they were before they traded Luka Doncic?
That's a good question. I think it's an interesting question. So I don't think they are. I think if you're Dallas, those fans built a relationship with Luka. They felt so deeply connected to him for all of his warts, all of his electric moments, going to the finals in the Western Conference Finals. So you went to the Western Conference Finals twice and the finals once, and the roster really didn't feel like it was good enough to do that. So I think the relationship that you have as a fan base with your star player matters. And so to that point, I would say they're not better off because they've broken that trust in that relationship with their fans. And I don't know that that ever recovers. Like Dirk, I don't think will ever fuck with the Dallas Mavericks again. I think that all those players that used to be wanting to come around the team with this new ownership group are sort of distancing themselves. But from a purely basketball standpoint, maybe. From like are they set up for longer term success now that they have Cooper Flag? Just an almost absurdly tiny possibility that they had to get him, even though they made it into the play-in tournament and they still end up getting him, is sort of wild. Like you don't make that move with the intention of getting Cooper Flag because that's just not good planning. They just got so lucky. So you've got Kyrie Irving coming back. What is he going to be off of that ACL tear? You've got Cooper, you've got AD, you've got a lot of front court depth, you've got wings. There's more moves, obviously, to be made. I'm sure they're going to go get another guard. I know they've been linked to Drew Holiday as well, and some other sort of like maybe more fringe players like Colin Sexton to sort of step in while Kyrie Irving is injured this whole next year. The answer is maybe in terms of like what you were going to have to pay Luka and the second apron thing that we were just talking about and how that can really hamper teams and their ability to succeed. And I think a two-way wing that's going to be under team control on a rookie deal is obviously much better than what you're going to have to pay for Luka. But we've never seen Cooper Flag play a single NBA game, so it's kind of TBD.
You know that slot that the Mavericks won the draft lottery in?
Yep, it was it was y'all, right? That was your pick.
If the Heat, because the Heat had to win 2 play-in games. If they would have lost one of the play-in games, that was their slot. Like I mean, I don't know, does it change the karma? But that was their slot. They would have won the draft lottery.
And that Atlanta game was nuts.
Yeah.
That Atlanta game, you had no way. Like, there was no reason for you to win that game.
Well, that was the game where on the Levitard show, we did a watch party, and I had the huge bet. And because the Heat won that game, I won all the Pearl Jam tickets.
So it was good for you.
Oh, my God. It was amazing. I was a big winner.
Would you have rather had the Pearl Jam tickets or Cooper Flag?
Oh, Pearl Jam. Yeah.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
So you would rather have that one night of momentary... Two nights of momentary bliss. And you would trade that for a generational player.
It's not momentary. It's forever. I
forever.
have that
Pro Jam's forever.
I have this memory forever. It doesn't go away.
So going to Pro Jam then is more impactful to you than team success, your favorite team success.
I mean, Cooper Flag is not the only avenue for team success. Like, they could be a successful team other ways. So,
do you feel like, though, that you're on the track for that? I'm glad you guys didn't trade for KD because it just feels like things are really kind of on the precipice of long-term mediocrity.
They're such a bore right now. They really are. But I have to believe that, you know, trading Jimmy Butler, that's you waving the white flag as in we need to do something different. So I have to believe then that this offseason is going to be different from the past few offseasons because they traded Jimmy Butler here. They didn't trade Jimmy Butler any of those other offseasons. And for all the Heat fans who are angry that they didn't get Kevin Durant, I get it, but the Heat's entire offseason does not hinge on success and failure is not based on getting Kevin Durant at 37 years old or not getting Kevin Durant. Like, can I at least see the body of work when we're done with the next couple weeks of free agency? And I think the Heat are going to be super active with trades. I do.
Yeah, and if you get Kevin Durant, you're now locked into paying that man $150 million over 2 years, and then you got to pay Tyler Hero. It's just a mess.
Trysta, they would have to give up a lot of their depth, and we see the way the league works right now, it's not about, I mean, hey, Phoenix just showed everyone, it's not about acquiring as many superstars as you can and then fill out with minimums. Like, no, you need to have a pretty deep roster. It's what you just saw with the Indiana Pacers.
Yes.
I mean, Trysta, are you telling me that a team with Kevin Durant, Bam Adebayo, and Tyler Hero, and then fill out the rest of the roster. You got teams doing anything? Because I don't.
I think that's sort of Phoenix Suns East to a degree, right? Just like you can't win when you have to be like on the razor thin margins. Everything kind of the issue really with Denver, right? Like Denver's got those stars. You got, Aaron Gordon, you've got Nikola Jokic, you've got Michael Porter Jr., which I don't know whether he'll ever be healthy fully again, Jamal Murray. But like their depth is so poor that you need Christian Brown to be his peak. You need Julian Strother, to be his peak. And you can't have anyone injured. You have to have Russell Westbrook, who's probably not coming back. His like peak of whatever you can get from him. And still, it's really not enough. And I think Denver's front office would say, well, we had OKC on the ropes more than anyone else, right? Like that's pretty much what they would say. Maybe Indiana, you could say also had the same thing. But you had Denver up 10 with 3 minutes left to go. And, then you had Lou Dort reigning 3. So you have to have depth, though. You're seeing that with New York to a degree, feeling like they didn't go as far as they could have because of their lack of depth, or at least Tibbs's inability to use the depth. Indiana's success based on depth, OKC's success based on depth, and a bunch of other teams with stars falling shorter than we thought that they would.
Are you willing to go out on a limb and say Team X is going to be a major player tonight?
Ooh, I think Brooklyn has to be a major player. They have 5 first-round picks tonight.
So they're going to use some of those picks and acquire a good player, you think?
Either a good player and it could be or. I think they move up from 8 because I don't think
they're not using 5 first-round picks. That's for sure.
No, I think they move up from 8. And I think they try to get Ace Bailey because that's kind of what the chatter's been.
Yeah, what do you make of that? Like, is Ace Bailey? I think Ace Bailey's been given a guarantee. That's what's going on here.
It's a weird thing, right? And to me, I'm like, who the hell does Ace Bailey think he is? Ace Bailey, and this is no shade to him because I think his upside's tremendous, right? Like a lot of people thought he was 6'10", which he's not. He's 6'7". Totally different player when you're 6'10", doing what he does. That's Kevin Durant. That's what he does. But 6'7", you're like, okay, what is he really? His shot selection isn't great. His decision-making isn't great. His passing isn't great. He can make really tough shots, and that's hard to do. Is he going to make those shots at the next level? He played with a guy who's going number 2 overall to San Antonio, and they couldn't make the tournament.
That always worries me. That worries me.
I would this is going to sound so crazy to your fans. And this is just a preference thing. I think Walter Clayton Jr. will be a better player. I think he will be a better player than Ace Bailey in the NBA. So I do think the way that he's gone about this process is very arrogant and I think he's getting some bad guidance from his agents. And I think when you don't work out for teams, that shows other teams that may trade for you down the road. This is a relationship-based business. There's plenty of teams that you meet with pre-draft that you end up on 5-10 years down the road in your career. So I think the way he's going about this is ridiculous. He'll probably end up on a team that's not doing shit, like Brooklyn or Washington or New Orleans.
I think that's what he wants.
And to that I say, like, that whole approach is absurd to me. I think I would rather see a player go to a good organization that can extract the most value and talent from him, like an OKC, which he would never go to, but that's the organization type that I'm talking about, than go to a Charlotte or a Washington where, you're going to get 25 shots a game, but your career is probably not going to be anything close to what it could be.
How do you watch the draft tonight? Because I stay off Twitter. I don't want anything spoiled for me. I just watch the draft show. I don't want to know the pick until Adam Silver announces it.
Ooh, I'm a Twitter X watcher for sure. I'm doing a live draft reaction show. That's hard to say, with this guy Chilltown Hoops, who he started his account on TikTok. He's like made it on TNT and done some stuff, old head. And then his co-host, this guy Tony. And so we're going to do like a 3-man live reaction show to the first round, talk about team needs, talk about these players, and just kind of shoot the shit.
Okay. All right. So you like getting all the information on social media as you can while you're watching the draft.
Yeah, I'm just a little greedy. I don't like to wait. My level of delayed gratification on the draft picks, especially when I bet the draft, which I can't in Oregon, but I did every year for the last 4 years. I really need to know. But yeah, that's I can't help myself. I'm not gonna turn my phone on do not disturb, and I'm getting texts like, "Oh my God, could you believe it? So and so."
We'll let you go with this, Trista, and then you'll tell us all the places that everybody can catch you. What are you watching these days? What shows are you watching? Or have you finished Netflix? What are you
Ooh.
watching?
My number one cotton candy show right now is Love Island. I just got into it. I feel like it's taking the US by storm. The memes are delicious. So that's number one. I'm watching a lot of spy shows.
Okay.
I just finished Friends and Neighbors with John Hamm.
Oh, yes.
Um,
My wife watched that recently. She liked it.
that was pretty good. Oh, the show I really like that I recommend everyone to watch is Mobland with Tom Hardy. Mobland with
Oh,
Tom
okay.
Hardy, Pierce Brosnan, Helen Mirren. 12
Okay.
episodes. Incredible television. Incredible.
Okay. All
It's
right.
gonna be like the
Mobland's a good
Americans for you.
idea.
It's gonna be like the Americans for you, where you and wifey take my suggestions, and then you're like, "Damn, Trista, that was solid."
Were you the one who recommended us Americans?
Yes, yes,
What a show.
yeah.
Incredible show. And one of the all-time great finales. It's very hard to end good shows. Incredible finale.
The parking lot scene, chills,
Yeah, great.
chills.
We're watching right now, me and my wife. It just was released on Netflix. We're watching The Waterfront.
How is
It's
that?
oh, I mean, it's salacious, like it's we love it. It's
What's the
great.
backstory of it?
It's a guilty pleasure for sure. I think it's great. Yeah, so it's by like the writers of Dawson's Creek, okay? And
Okay.
look, I love Dawson's Creek, all right, back in the day. Come on now. But yeah, so it's this family who it's a small town on the East Coast, and they own like waterfront fisheries, that kind of deal. But it's also like they made their bones a little bit in the drug game, all right? A little import
Mm.
export kind of deal. So that's the show. It's this very powerful family in a small town, and that's the deal. Yeah,
Oh, I'm so in. That
yeah.
sounds so great. There's a show I just watched, and it's cotton candy as well on Amazon. Reacher. I've
Oh,
watched
of
every
course,
season.
Reacher's so
Yeah.
good.
So Reacher's last season, he's like embedded with this rug distributor family that's really like selling
Hmm.
arms. And that's what that reminded me of, like a little small town in Maine pretending to sell like Oriental rugs, and actually you're selling AK-47s to like Afghanistan.
Oh, Reacher's fantastic, of course.
Fantastic.
All right, that's a good recommendation though, Mobland, and you should check out The Waterfront. We're really enjoying that. Trista, tell everybody where they could catch you. Go ahead.
Find me on Instagram, Trysta, Trysta_Krick, Krick. You can find me on NBC Sports every day giving out betting picks. Find me on the Heat Check podcast where we talk about the NBA. That's like a comedy podcast. But my new baby is a women's sports podcast, which went very viral this last weekend. Angel McCautry had some comments about Haley Van Lith, and that got aggregated. It's called Let Her Shoot. And we talk all women's sports, NWSL, WNBA, U.S. women's national team, softball, all that. And it's like more of a chat show than it is like a hot take show. And it's been awesome, super fun. So check that out every week on Tuesdays, wherever you get your podcast.
Awesome. Terrific job, Trista. Really good seeing you. Thanks for hanging out today. Enjoy the draft tonight.
Thanks, brother.